searing heat. It's New South Wales's turn to sizzle as dangerous temperatures spread across Australia. Remains released. Relief at last for Bruce and Denise Morecambe, who can finally farewell their son Daniel. And go, go, go Jay. The Aussie music star sweeps the board at the Arias.
This is 10 News with Ron Wilson.
Morning everyone. Victoria sweltered through its hottest day in a century yesterday, and now it's the turn of New South Wales. For the latest on the situation, 10 reporter Melinda Nusafora is braving the heat in Sydney. She's talking to us live though. Mel, what's the East Coast in for today?
Ron, we are set for a scorcher. There are some hot winds that are blowing in from the desert over that red centre, and it is going to warm things up. Some of the western parts of the eastern states have already been having this heat wave all week, and now it's set to be Sydney's turn. It's going to be over 30 degrees in the city today and almost 40 degrees in the western suburbs.
Do you know, it's some of the simplest things that will get through this sort of heat wave. What are the tips from the ambulance people?
Ron, this is one of the things that just continues to baffle the ambulance and the other health authorities. People just don't take heat waves seriously. So please use your common sense and be aware.
Excellent advice. Melinda Nusafora live in Sydney. A top British judge has slammed the British press as outrageous. In the wake of the news of the world phone hacking scandal, Lord Justice Leveson handed down his report into media ethics, in which he proposed legal regulation of the press for the first time in 400 years. But as Tom Bradby reports, his recommendations have caused a deep political divide. Still ahead in 10's Morning News. The Savile sex scandal, another person is questioned as the child abuse claims widen. And uh-oh, Lilo, the Hollywood star, back in trouble with the law. You're watching 10's Morning News. Palestine has been granted non-member status at the United Nations. The General Assembly voted overwhelmingly in its favour, 138 to 9, with 41 abstentions, of course Australia being one of them. Still ahead in 10's Morning News. A golden wait. Two winners of a massive US lottery jackpot are yet to come forward. And beating the bulge, how to celebrate this festive season without needing to loosen the belt. Let's just quickly check the finance, and of course the Australian stock market off to a very positive start this morning. Currently at 45.09.8 on the All Ords, that's up 19.7. On the currency markets, the Aussie dollar is buying 104 US cents, 65 pence, 86 yen, 81 euro cents, and $1.27 New Zealand. Well, the relatives will come out of the woodwork. Christmas is just around the corner, and that means food and lots of it. If you're wanting to watch your waistline though, this silly season, while still isn't making the most of celebrations, nutritionists say it can be done. Joining us now with tips on how not to overindulge but still have a bit of fun is nutritionist Dane Crocker. Dane, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ron.
It's all about feasting though on Christmas. How do you go through Christmas and not put on more pounds than you absolutely need to?
Look, Christmas time, often you see a lot of people turning the daily, festive season into a month-long binge affair. Often people take a good 2 weeks to a month off. So my advice is definitely to, have that self-control, but treat Christmas Day as a day of enjoying time with your loved ones and friends and keeping the focus on the social part, not just solely on the food. Definitely after, alcohol consumption and excess food, it's good to take things like probiotics. St Mary's thistle is really great to detoxify the liver, and your B vitamins. So these are all things you can have on hand at home to, replenish and avoid those digestive issues.
I might just take you up on that this year.
Yeah.
Nutritionist Dane Crocker, thank you very much, and thanks for being part of the Morning News over the last few months.
Thanks, Ron. It's been a pleasure.
Well done.
Thank you.
Still ahead in 10's Morning News. Milk Mad, the crazy new fad that gives planking a run for its money. And weird news in review, we've got the strangest stories of the year. lounge room is looking a little tired. Well, here's some good news. A new app for your smartphone or tablet takes all the hard work out of updating your interiors. You can try different colours, update your couch while you're actually sitting on the old one. And here to tell us all about it, along with a wrap of the social media trends of the day, is our pop culture commentator, Nick Gulliver. Nick, good morning to you. Welcome back in. Now, tell us about this app. It sounds pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. You know, I only bring the best stuff on this show.
I know you do.
Okay, so it's called Clipbook, and basically that's Swedish for scrapbook. And what it is, it's a new app that's put together by IKEA that allows you to put together basically a mood board of all the products you want to use and kind of display and stuff like that. So
Oh, well, I'm pleased about that. Nick Gulliver, our pop culture guru, thanks very much, mate.
No worries, Ronnie.
Another interesting segment. From toilet theme parks to stubborn animals, we've brought you some pretty strange stories in our Weird News Wraps this year. Well, here's Tess.
Who could forget the world's first toilet culture park, opening its doors in South Korea? Complete with a sculpture garden dedicated to squatting, visitors can pose with various dunnies.
Particularly if they're a little uptight or embarrassed about toilets or toilet habits, because this makes you laugh and you see that it's not a secret.
And if you're still not convinced why anyone would go, well, where else can you get a Happy Snap souvenir down the can? Coming in at number 3 is a tale more strange than fluffy. These teenagers in Mexico love stuffed animals so much, they dress up as them. Meet Adrian. He's one of 86 furries in the city of Monterio. He likes to be a fox. And yes, he and his buddies actually hang out like this, just for fun. From one cuddly critter to another, number 2 could only go to the elected official with the sharpest claws. Stubbs, the stripy tabby, has been mayor of Talkeetna, Alaska for the past 15 years. He doesn't have much of a manifesto and he often sleeps on the job, but he's given the town a much-needed boost as the perfect tourist attraction. You could say it was the year of the cute animal, with so many of them doing both remarkable and very strange things. But it was one man's sheer stupidity that took out the top spot for this year's strangest story. It isn't easy being green. Who could forget the Brazilian man who learned the hard way to stay away from ballistic missiles paint? He made an excellent Incredible Hulk for a dress-up party. Well, that was until the paint wouldn't budge. 48 hours, 20 baths and some serious scrubbing later, he finally returned to his normal colour. But the best part? The would-be superhero said he'd do it all over again. Tess Woolcock, 10 News.
And our thanks to Tess Woolcock, our Queen of Weird here on the Morning News. Matt Suleau is a King of Sport here on the Morning News. Whoever wins this test in Perth obviously gets the #1 ranking in the world. But I say the Australians have got a whole lot more to play for now.
Yeah, they do, with Ricky Ponting announcing that this test will be his last. The players are under pressure to send him out a winner. Punter will join Steve Waugh as Australia's most capped test player when play begins today. And we'll cross live to AFL House for the latest on the hearing into the Adelaide Crows' Kurt Tippett salary cap scandal.
Wednesday on 10.
These guys don't crash weddings. They rock them.
Welcome back. Australia enters the fight for the world #1 ranking today without pace spearheads Peter Siddle and Ben Hilfenhaus. As Liam Cox reports, the series deciding test against South Africa in Perth will be Ricky Ponting's finale after 17 years wearing the baggy green. And finally, we've seen a legend of cricket retire, and today we're seeing another legend pull up stumps after an amazing innings here at Network 10. Ron Wilson, it's been quite a knock. Let's have a look back at a great career so far.
Television news. Brought to you by 10's top news team.
Good evening, I'm Katrina Lee.
And I'm Ron Wilson. Good evening. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ron Wilson.
Good evening, I'm Sandra Sully.
And I'm Ron Wilson, first in Sydney with the 5 o'clock news. My name's Ron Wilson. I'm coming to you from the 10 News Centre in Sydney, where we'll coordinate our national coverage of this major world event. Prepare for the worst. That's the warning on the Australian death toll from the Bali blast. This is almost the exact spot where I huddled under a pile of mattresses with my family on that night 20 years ago. Kieran, what do you miss most from the fire?
Some of my Christmas presents.
And their calls for... God, it's hard when you record it. Speaking of closet dolly readers, Tim Bailey, good evening. Check the weather for us.
I only rooted for the articles, Wilson. I've told you that before.
Watch out for these. Thank you, Tim Bailey. The budgie smugglers. I think I've been banned from wearing mine.
Yeah, I think you have. That still is in place.
And it's a 10 news update. And then you shuffle the script. Shuffle the script.
And forget planking, Batmaning is the latest craze to hit the US. You know, Georgie, it's amazing how quickly these things take off. I just got to go now before the blood runs to my head. When your news goes not just Sydney, not just Australia, but intergalactic, you know you've made it in this business.
Yeah, and you've always liked dressing up, haven't you?
Is that so? OK.
All right, so Ron Wilson is our Gen Ys, meaning he's old.
And we love you very much.
Respected, versatile, caring. For 15 years, he's been part of your news team and ours. Ron Wilson.
I'm Ron Wilson.
Good night.
What a hoot.
You're an absolute legend. It's been an absolute privilege. A round of applause. It's been an absolute privilege to work with you, mate. I can speak on behalf of the network. And you'll be sorely missed, and no doubt we'll see you pop up somewhere, because a man of your skill and talent won't go to waste.
After 34 years, it's very hard. Today's our last bulletin, but I will be back doing updates and bits and pieces over the next month. But what a great crew.
Oh, we love you, Ronnie.
Straight to a break.
We love you, mate.
Well, good morning to you. Most of the nation is scorching today, except for the far southwest of Western Australia. We've got very, very hot temperatures, plus a high-pressure system in the Tasman is directing very humid northeasterly winds, making for some very uncomfortable conditions, especially for New South Wales over the next couple of days. Now, even though we have a trough and a cold front bringing a weak cool change through South Australia and Victoria, it's not really making that much of a difference. When you're starting off with 40 and you get a 10-degree temperature drop, it's still 30 degrees, and with humidity, it still feels pretty uncomfortable. This trough is also generating some showers and thunderstorms stretching from the tropics right across central Australia through South Australia, Victoria and northern parts of Tasmania today. And some of these thunderstorms have the potential to be severe. You'll notice, though, much of the east and west, though, are remaining dry, and showers are also easing through the southwest of Western Australia. So let's go state by state and have a look at the weather at your place. Generally speaking, for Queenslanders, it's going to be dry and sunny across much of the state. We've just got isolated showers for parts of the tropics and possible storms up north. Brisbane itself, sunny and 31 degrees. Very, very hot in the far west, and there are numerous fire dangers in place. We've also got fire dangers through parts of New South Wales today. This is thanks to extremely hot conditions. Broken Hill, 40 degrees today, 41 in Dubbo. And even Sydney's western suburbs will be nudging that 40-degree mark this afternoon. Showers and storms will mainly be the story across the southeastern corner. They'll also develop on the ranges this afternoon. So for somewhere like Sydney, possible showers and storms today, but mainly in the west. Very hot for Canberra with possible showers and storms also. Now, these rain and thunderstorm activity will be spreading across much of Victoria today. We've still got really hot conditions despite a cool change in the south. 28 degrees for Melbourne, very humid. Really hot up north with a high of 35 degrees in Swan Hill. Tasmanians, thanks to northerly winds, also seeing well above average temperatures today. 28 for Launceston, 32 for Hobart, and isolated showers mainly during the morning. If you're in South Australia, in the northeast and the west, we're seeing dry conditions. Elsewhere, we've got that band of shower and thunderstorm activity stretching from the north right down to the southeast. That includes Adelaide with 31 degrees, and it is still very hot and humid across much of the state today. In Western Australia, as I mentioned, showers and winds are easing in the southwest. We've still got isolated showers and storms on the south coast with possible hail. Very hot through central Australia with 38 degrees for Alice and showers and storms, with an afternoon shower or storm in Darwin and 34. Quick check of your weekend. Beautiful beach weather for Brisbane both days with sunshine and 32. Sydney, tomorrow will be the worst day with temperatures reaching over 40 degrees. Evening cool change with showers and storms, and then a much cooler 24 on Sunday. Canberra will be seeing a very hot one on Saturday too with showers and storms. Just showers and 27 degrees on Sunday. Melbourne, you'll be seeing rain, although easing during the afternoon on Saturday with just isolated showers on Sunday. Hobart, Adelaide and Perth all remaining dry with a shower or storm for Darwin and 34 degrees. Well, that's all for now, I guess, for the 10 Morning News weather. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this. And, Ronnie, I'm definitely going to miss you.
Oh, Magdalena, you're a beautiful person. Thank you. That is 10's Morning News. We'll have updates throughout the day and, of course, full coverage in our 5 o'clock news out this evening. And that is our final edition of the Morning News. From next week, we'll be keeping you informed with live updates throughout the day. Special thanks to Tess and Luke and Casey 1 and Casey 2 for all their work on the Morning News. Despite all the goodbyes, I'll actually be back with you on Monday doing updates, so I never go too far. Keep an eye out. I'm Ron Wilson.